I started yesterday talking about building a pillar, the before reading, and we started doing a preview, identifying major concepts and things like that, which is all a very important part of reading. All right, the other part of before reading I'm going to talk about is questions, okay? I didn't talk about that yet. So essentially, I don't know if you remember, but the end of each rotation, we're going to give you like a cumulative assignment, meaning, sort of like the whole rotation is going to build up to this one assignment. This one assignment is going to be graded a little bit differently. Remember your other assignments are like more to like a pass fail, try your best and, you'll pass it. This assignment is more like an assessment to see if you grasp what we went over. So at the end of this rotation on Friday, you're going to be doing a before reading activity. All right. So you're going to be doing a pillar, and then the second part is developing questions. So today I'm going to talk to you about all the different types of questions, okay? So if you look, I have here 5 categories of questions. So I'm going to go through each category. I'm going to read this paragraph and show you the questions that I came up with. And then you guys, I'll share this doc with you. And then you as a group will come up with questions for this paragraph in the same way that I did. So kind of practice making your own questions. So we're not answering the questions, we're just creating questions. And that's really important because creating questions is a huge part of reading comprehension. It taps into our curiosity. All right, it makes us wonder about what we're reading, and it gets us more engaged. So we end up comprehending better when we make our own questions. Okay, but we need to make sure we make the right types of questions. All right, so for example, the easiest category of questions would be factual. Questions just about facts from the reading. So if you look here, it has one correct answer that comes from the text and it's really easy to find. Okay? So, what is the name of the main character is a very factual question. A background question, there's one reasonable answer, except it's not in the text. Typically, it's things that the author would assume a reader would know. Okay, or if you don't, you might need to do a quick Google search. And I'll show you my background questions. Evaluative questions are questions that have more than one reasonable answer, but the evidence comes from your opinion. So if anybody watched the presidential debate last night, a lot of that would be evaluative type statements. It's here's my opinion. And they may have what they consider to be facts to back it up, but the majority of their answer to the questions is their opinion, okay? Speculative questions. The idea is to speculate or predict or imagine. So there's more than one reasonable answer, but the answers are from your imagination. So for example, if the movie's over and you ask, well, what happened to the character now? That's a speculative question. You're wondering what's happening. You don't really have an answer to that. All right, it's just an imaginative. And then interpretive. For me, interpretive are the best questions for comprehension. Because what these questions do is that there's 2 or more reasonable answers, and it is supported by evidence from the text. And if you notice, both of my interpretive questions start with why. To start off, I think that's a good way to think about it. These are why questions that relate to the text. Okay, so let me give you some actual concrete examples of what I did. So I'm going to read this paragraph about dolphins, then I'll show you the questions I made up. It says, dolphins are regarded as the friendliest creatures in the sea, and stories of them helping drowning sailors have been common since Roman times. The more we learn about dolphins, the more we realize that their society is more complex than people previously imagined. They looked after other dolphins when they are ill, care for pregnant mothers, and protect the weakest in the community, as we do. Some scientists have suggested that dolphins have a language, but it is much more probable that they communicate with each other without needing words. Could any of these mammals be more intelligent than man? Certainly, the most common argument in favor of man's superiority over them, that we can kill them more easily than they can kill us, is the least satisfactory. On the contrary, the more we discover about these remarkable creatures, the less we appear superior when we destroy them. So let's take a look at the questions I made up about this paragraph. So my factual questions. Who do dolphins help and save from drowning? If you look, it's right here, right? They help save sailors. Just a basic fact from the passage. What do dolphins do with other sick dolphins? Again, a simple fact right here. They look after all their dolphins when they are ill. Factual questions, okay? My background questions. Remember, questions that have more than one reasonable answer, but the information for those answers are usually in the head of the reader. But if not, you can ask somebody and find it in the another book or Google or something like that. So for example, how big are full-grown dolphins? So the answer to that, it might not be you know the exact size, but I think most of us have seen a dolphin or a picture of a dolphin. So we're aware they're not like little like fish. We're aware that they're kind of like shark size. Okay, and that's really all we need for background. Why are dolphins considered mammals? Again, some of us may know this, because they breathe oxygen, they have hair in their body. We maybe learned it when we were younger, or if we don't, we can just do a quick Google search, okay? It's not in the text. It relates to the text, but the answer to those questions are more outside of it, like things we kind of need to know to understand the text better. My evaluative questions. Are men superior because they can kill dolphins easily? So notice I did address something from the text, right? That they said it right here about most common argument in man's superiority. But the question is just your opinion. Do you believe that? Okay. So there's more than one answer to that. And it's your opinion. You're evaluating the information. Are dolphins the friendliest creatures in the sea? Again, there was a statement made by the author, but I'm just asking your opinion. You're evaluating the information. Okay. A speculative question. You're speculating, you're predicting, right? More than one reasonable answer, but the answers are generated from your imagination. How did the dolphins save the drowning sailors? So again, it talked about in the factual, right, that they're saving drowning sailors, but it doesn't discuss how this happened. So we imagine, how do you think they did it? Definitely more than one reasonable answer. Did they pull them up with their teeth? Did they go underneath and pull them up with their bodies? Like how did they even know? That's another speculative question, okay? Another speculative question is, how do dolphins protect the weakest in the community? So again, right here, it talked about that they protect the weakest in the community as we do. And that's all it says. So I'm speculating. I'm kind of saying, well, how do they do that? Again, the answer is really in our head, in our imagination. There's some guessing. Maybe we can do a search, but most of the answer is just guesswork. All right, these are all good questions for discussion, but the best questions for discussion to comprehend better are the interpretive questions, because it has two or more reasonable answers, but you have to use the text to get that answer, to help support your answer. So notice why. Why are dolphins considered the friendliest creatures in the sea? So notice I changed one word and it made a very different question. I said here, are dolphins the friendliest creatures in the sea? That's your opinion. Now we're going to go with why. So we're just going to agree that the author's statement here, that dolphins are regarded the friendliest creatures in the sea, is a true statement. Now we got to talk about why. So what in the text helps support that they're the friendliest creatures in the sea? Well, we could say that they help save the sailors. We could say that they care for the ill. We could say that they protect the weakest link. Okay? And then you build from that. The other interpretive question I have is, why are dolphin society considered complex? So again, we're going to agree that the author just said right here that their society is complex. And we're just going to say that that's a true statement. We're not going to give our opinion on that. But now we're going to explain why. So what in the text makes us think that it's a more complex society? Well, again, they care for each other, right? They have a language, right? Maybe, but they might need to communicate without words, right? So some questions, but information from the text to help build our answers, okay?